Gotti Jr.?
That would be correct, sir.
Good news, good news. How's your day shaping up over there?
Pretty good. We got Florida weather up here.
You know what's funny is it's raining here now too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it was hot and it's kind of hot and a little muggy today, and then it started raining. And I don't know. There's supposed to be some kind of tropical storm coming up through the Gulf, but I don't know.
It's tropical heat wave. It's a tropical heat wave. That song always reminds me of Grumpy Old Men.
I've seen that movie, but I can't remember it.
I know, it's been so long. I just remember that part, though. It's a tropical heat wave. They were playing the song, and there's like a foot of snow outside.
Do you think you're getting closer to being a grumpy old man?
As I get older here, I think I'm going to be one of those grumpy old men, for sure. Because I'm already, like, you know, jealous of these young kids because they're younger and stuff, so.
Nothing like being jealous of somebody because they're younger, right?
Yeah, it sucks. I'm like, man, I wish I could go back to that age.
Go back in time. Hit the time machine.
Back time. Yeah.
I mean, you know that they've done, you know, there's a lot of movies on time travel, but is there actually anyone that's actually, like, tried to actually do it? Like, you know what I mean? For real? Like, has anybody ever thought that they had it figured out? I've never, like, Googled it or anything.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that's been tried.
So, what do you do to try it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I know on what the hell was that name of the show? Robin Big.
Mm-hmm.
They bought a time machine off of eBay and tried it.
Did it work?
Didn't seem like it did. At least on the episode it didn't. Maybe it did afterwards when the cameras weren't rolling.
What would be weird with time travel is it's like if everybody had access, it would kind of, everything would just be so screwed up, though, because people would be coming in and out, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you'd be popping in here, popping out, you know, moving forward, moving back. Like, you know, people would be all over the place. You would, you know, then, you know, the way things work now when you have your population is at a certain point and it's people are dying and being born, but if you have all these people popping in and out, it could be a mess. You know? You think
That's
it's
true.
bad, like, you think it's bad in Florida, like, when the snowbirds come into town, right? We're not even considering the time travelers.
Oh my God. Man, that's true. Never thought of it like that.
Going to Disney World. Where'd all these time travelers come from?
I'd go back to the 50s. I would like to go to the 50s because it seems like that was an awesome period. You know, I would jump around everywhere, but 50s would be definitely one of them I'd visit. At least it looked cool on Back to the Future. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's just... But the thing that would be crazy is you'd be so used to today's technology.
Yeah.
And then you'd be going back, and it's like...
Where's my PlayStation 4?
Well, yeah, that, and, you know, it's like, you know, you'd be driving somewhere, and you'd say, oh, crap, I forgot this at the house. And then you'd tell somebody, hey, give them shoot them a text real quick, and remind, they'll be like, what?
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, how did we do without cell phones? I mean, it was such a weird, like, if you forget your phone and leave it at home for like a day or whatever, it's like the weirdest feeling in the world. Like,
oh yeah, you feel like you got to put on some clothes.
Like, I don't even know how we did it back then. It's just, I guess, you told your friends, hey, I'm going to meet you, I'll meet you there at 5 o'clock. And then you just showed up, I guess. Like, there was no like, hey, I'm leaving now. And
Yeah, I'm here. Where are you?
yeah, none of that. Just amazing that you functioned without all that stuff.
I remember meeting my friend like to go to the mall in Orlando, and he'd talk on the phone before left the house, and I'd say, all right, I'll meet you over there at whatever time, and of course I would be late, and he would plan for me being late. So 30 minutes later I would show up, and he'd be sitting there waiting on me.
Yeah, just wondering if you're going to show up or not, and there you are. There was no like, hey, I'm running a little late. Once you left that house, that was it.
Yeah, you're in transit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even as good. I mean, when you order the pizza from Domino's, you get more updates.
Love the Domino's app. Yeah, and like when I was a kid, I would leave the house like 8, 9 in the morning. I had to check in around noon and then 5 o'clock, and then after 5, when the street lights came on, and you had to be home.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like I have a really good recollection of things that happened then too. Like I can remember a lot of stuff. Like, have you seen that picture going around Facebook where it's the old lady standing at the fence, kind of taking it all in, and then you got all these people around her like scrambling with their cell phone, trying to take pictures and video, and she just has this look like just totally soaking it in instead.
Wow.
Styled
yeah,
photo.
Just taking a mental picture instead. A lot different. Like today now when my daughter goes out, it's like, okay, text me when you get there. Text me when you arrive there, when you're leaving, and it's like, didn't have that back then. But I mean, it's a little bit more dangerous time now. But at least we think it is. I don't know. Maybe it was just as dangerous back then, but we were just oblivious to it, or the parents were, I don't know. I mean, I remember there was kidnapping back then too, but
yeah,
I don't. Today it just seems really crazy. I try not to be.
It has you on high alert because I think the stories that you hear about now they scare you, and of course you could see stories in the old days, but it wasn't all over your phone and the internet. You had to watch the news.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Huh.
I was just at the local hobby shop, dude.
Really?
I was there a lot.
Oh, you're talking about back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so was I. I got to the point where every day after school, my mom would bring me over there, and I had a stool, and they'd take out the stool for me, and I would just hang out at the counter.
just sit there. Like,
yeah.
And then I couldn't wait for UPS to arrive at the shop and be the first one to look and to see what he got in,
Yeah.
And then buy that new part and go home later and install it.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I remember ordering my RC10T from the hobby store, and just felt like it was forever for that thing to come in. And it's like the day finally got there that it arrived, and it's just like, holy crap, it finally came in. We're talking about something that was mega popular. I mean, I put that thing on order from the hobby store, and I wasn't even first on the list there was people before me that had, I want to say I was like third or fourth on the list. I built it right away. I probably was running it that weekend. I painted a few bodies myself back then, like when I first started racing. Yeah. I started with like a paint job that I saw in Car Action on the cover or something, and they were kind of simple line stripe paint jobs. But I was okay. I had painted quite a bit already because of all my RC monster truck stuff. I was no expert, but it's like I knew kind of my way around.
Yeah, I just painted one color back then. When I was a kid, and then after that, after a while, I had somebody else paint them. But when you wanted some kind of cool airbrushing going on, there was no way I was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just doing simple mask the windows off and spray it with some paint, one color. And just decal that baby up.
It used to be a big deal to get decals, too.
Yeah.
I remember it was like, if you could get like a free decal sheet or somebody gave you decals, it was like super cool,
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like you give people decals, it's like, they're like, nah, it's okay, I don't need any.
Yeah, I know. I have
right.
a stack of them here for Radio Impound. It's like, nah, I use, Stick It One or whatever. I'm like, well, you can get the logo there then.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want the standard decals. They want the, what do they call them, cut decals?
Yeah. And they are way nicer. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it used to take a long time. It used to take a long time to decal a body. And, that was a big job because you had to cut around the logos. And, that determined how nice your stuff was. If you're cutting out Team Associated, you had to travel along the bottom of the letters, and you'd curve up where the letter would curve up, and you'd get around the corners, and then you'd put them on, and then you could see people like, for me, you'd see people that just cut a big square out and just stuck it on the car, and you're like, come on.
No way, you did that?
No, I didn't.
I was gonna say, Jesus. Yeah, people that did that, you were just like, you pretty much knew you were gonna win that race against them.
You're like, well, clearly I have a mechanical advantage here.
Yeah. I used to love the auto graphics when they came out with all the lettering, so you can make up your own. You could make up your own, like you could put Rona's race team or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those were cool.
That was huge. That was huge.
That was.
They had their own numbers. You could get the autographics numbers.
Talk about a pain cutting those out and putting them on. Oof.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. We got a line. We got like a whole softball team. Oh, no, they're leaving Starbucks. Perfect.
Whew.
That would have been a disaster.
You'd have been there for like the whole show.
Yeah, they just made like $1,000 off of that whole team coming in there.
I bet you they love that. The workers, they're probably like, ugh.
Oh, no. I've seen that happen before where like a team starts walking in and you can look at their face and you can just tell, like...
It's like they want to quit right there.
Yep.
Welcome to Starbucks. What can I get set up for you?
Yeah, can I get the Trenta Berry refresher?
Okay.
The light berries.
Trenta berries with light berries and... Okay.
And a venti ice water.
Okay.
And can I get a butter croissant?
Anything else?
That's it.
Gonna be $7.71.
Drive right up, no problem.
Light on the berries.
Yeah, it's kind of a fine detail touch, but it does make a difference. Well, you remember what you didn't like about the drink was because you had all those berries in there.
Absolutely. That's why I was just thinking, like, maybe I should have tried light on the berries.
See that?
Yeah. Maybe I'll give it another shot sometime. But I'm not saying light on the berries. I'm going to have someone else say it. Have Carrie say it.
Yeah, I'd get her to do it.
Doesn't seem manly going light on the berries.
No, it definitely doesn't. But, you know, if you want it the way you want it.
Yeah. But yeah, lining up those autographic when I wanted to make a word on my car body, it was like, good Lord, that was tough.
Oh yeah, if you're trying to cut out those letters individually.
Yeah, and you had to use your X-Acto knife and try and line it up.
I'll run it out. It's not ready yet. I'll just run it out.
Huh?
Hold on.
You're already up to the front there? Wow.
Yeah. Full punch. Yeah, I got some photos all. Well, I was telling you, I found some photos of my parents, and I noticed that my mom, I forgot that she even had this, but she kind of did like a little, photo book, journal, whatever you want to call it, when I started racing, and, she wrote like little notes and stuff on there. Pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
So then for like, she did it, she kept it current for maybe like a year or two. Then I'm sure she was like, all right, this is way beyond just.
This is too much work.
It's pretty much like the little, photo album with the notes. It makes it like a Facebook,
Yeah.
Each
Right.
photo's got some text. It's like just having it in your hand.
Facebook old school style right there.
Mm-hmm.
She probably figured, oh, this is just going to be a fad. I'll do it for her. So,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, okay, forget it. This is turning into
Little-
something real.
Little flash in the pan.
Yeah.
We'll get through this little phase.
Well, that's why my parents would, at first would not buy me an RC car because they figured it would be something I would run and just throw it in a closet, And, oh, what's going on there?
It's like, no, this is like the opposite of just throwing it in the closet. Like, this is like full commitment.
Yeah, I first, I couldn't get the RC10. That's what I wanted. I had that advertisement on my bedroom walls. You know what I mean? I thought it was cool as hell. That advertisement was awesome. The original one, and then they had the Jay Hosley one with the girl. I had that hanging up too, but I couldn't get that one. Got my Hot Shot 2, Tamiya Hot Shot 2 for Christmas the one year. I'm guessing 86, something like that. And, I would just run around outside. And then when I found out there was a track in my area, I was like, whoa. We went to visit the track, and that's what started it all.
Yeah.
And then my parents realized it was going to be more than just a fad, It wasn't going to go away soon.
Wow, this kid's really kind of attached to this.
I loved it. So, went to a track with that.
Got your autographics, decals cut out.
Went to race that, and there was other Tamiya cars there, and then there was also a Schumacher Cat.
It's weird that you got the Schumacher Cat, but not an RC10.
No, I didn't get a Schumacher Cat. There was a Schumacher Cat there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is what, 87, 88?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go racing right away with my Hot Shot. It took about a year. And then I showed up to the track, which was in New Media, Pennsylvania.
How far is that for you now?
That is about a half hour.
Okay.
And it was a club. There was a lot of clubs back then.
Yeah.
Dad took me there to watch races the one Sunday, and I was hooked. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. We got to come back here next week and race. How'd we get on this?
We started because we were time traveling.
Oh my God, that's right.
I would definitely go back to a few worlds and give it a shot. Oh yeah.
Go back to the '96 Nats, maybe.
Nah, I think I'm fine with leaving that one in the past.
Now, would you go back? Well, see, you can't go back and race again because if you alter history, isn't that kind of dangerous?
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, so you could just go back and just watch or something.
Well,
you can't mess around with history, dude. The timeline, you can't screw that up.
I guess it depends who's making the rules here, but say you could go back and then you could participate. I would participate in races that I wasn't able to participate in. So I think then it's not like you were writing over the top of your own self. You would be injecting yourself into it. So it's like, for instance, if I went back to the '96 Nats, like you would have 1996 me racing against 2018 me racing, which would just be nuts. But so then you would kind of be writing over the top versus if you were to go back.
Now, are we talking take this equipment from 18 to back then? Which you couldn't do anyway, because then it wouldn't be legal. So I guess that wouldn't work.
Well, yeah, there's definitely some items that you could not take back, like electrically. The cars you could probably take back as long as they met the rule requirements, and tires you could probably take back. But you'd be really cheating with all that stuff. Like if you showed up, there's several worlds. If I showed up with our tires today, I'm sure that I could definitely do some damage. So I would go back to run races that I wasn't able to run or that I always wanted to run, I think would be I wanted to go to the Basildon World so bad in '93, the one that you were watching the videos of.
Oh yeah, I've been watching YouTube videos of that. I think there's 2 different videos out there. I think 2 different people filmed. Well, I think Gene was one of them, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of the videos that's out there, and then there was another one. Seems a little more professional, but it's like
right. Yep.
There's like more editing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I checked them both out, and yeah, I was saying yesterday on the Anchor app, we downloaded on the RIP drive-through. I'm sorry, on the Anchor app, episode 5 is out there now, guys. If you want to listen to it, just download the Anchor app and type in Radio Impound, and there you go. Anyway, I was saying I never watched that race with Joel and Kinwell.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just never checked it out. Since we were talking about it a while ago, I was like, I'm going to check this out and watch this race. And man, what a heartbreaker for Joel in that race. I mean, he wins A1, and then A2, he bobbles and the car flips over. Yep. He was in the lead, though, easily. And then same thing happened in 3 when he was trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Man. I wonder if that bothers him to this day. It would bother me.
I think it depends
He's so close. I mean, he won A1. It was just like,
Yeah,
he looked good out there too.
it bothers me.
Yeah, it's gotta.
Because I mean, there's races that I've ran that still bother me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's ones that I wish that I'm like, man, it's like I should have fucking won that race.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's not even like, you know, stuff that you've ever heard of. Like, it's almost like I'm more upset about the ones that I should have, like, something dumb happened.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, man, that should have been a win. Yeah, I'm sure it bothers him. Not that it really, I don't know how much things would have changed or have been different, but I'm getting gas right now, by the way.
Ooh, I don't know if you can do that while you're on the phone.
I am.
Yikes. They usually have a big sticker there that has a cell phone, you know, the cross going through the cell phone, say no cell phones.
Let's see. If fire starts, no. I haven't found it yet.
All right, well, if we hear a loud explosion, we know what happened then.
No smoking, stop engine, no filling portable containers, discharge your static electricity before fueling. Do not re-enter your vehicle while gasoline is pumping. If the fire starts, do not remove nozzle, back away. Do not allow individuals under licensed age to use the pump.
Oh, really? Wow, that used to be one of my favorite things when I was a kid, you know, to pump the gas for your dad.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had an age restriction on that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right, does it?
No. It shows you how different the world is today.
Yeah, so I remember when my friends Brad and Brett Rels came back from that world. I remember them talking, because they weren't, remember we were talking about this before, that they really weren't big Kinwald fans. So
Yeah.
they didn't really care that Kinwald won. Like, to them, it was almost like a nuisance. Like, they were, like, irritated that Kinwald won. Even though they were unassociated and everything, I don't think that they were super proud. Like, it was more like, I remember them, because their generation was more like Cliff Lett, Jay Halsey, Joel Johnson. Like, that was kind of their generation. So I think when Kinwald won, it was like, oh, he's just punk, you know?
Yeah. New kid.
Yeah, some new kid. It's like still today when I talk to Brad about races, it's like, to him, Spencer is like I'll say something about Spencer, and it's like, to him, it's just like, he just skips right over it. Like, how did Cav do? Well, where's Mayfield? How's Tebow? Like, those are his three now, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Spencer didn't. To him, it's just like, who the hell's Spencer? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that,
And,
too.
yeah, it's like he has a connection to the other guys, because when we were doing the four-wheel drive stuff with BJ4, you know, we were around and we spent a great deal of time with them racing. So that's where he's connected, right?
Yeah.
Hold on.
I am going to put you on hold for 1 second, all right?
All right, I'm back.
Actually, more than 1 second. Give me about 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
37, 38, 39. All right, I'm done counting.
All right. That's better.
I think we got to about 49 seconds.
Oh, timing me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough when Kirby's not here, because it's tough to take those pee breaks. I have to put you on hold.
Kirby.
Where is he? I thought he said Friday was perfect for him.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I was like, oh, cool. Kirby gave that a thumbs up. He's going to be on tonight.
We know he doesn't have a date.
Oh. Eesh. it's tough. He's in Tower City. There's nothing there. That town's smaller than my town, man.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yeah. By far.
Yeah, so I was saying about Joel Johnson. I remember them telling me Joel hit the $10,000 pothole because they were theorizing that that's what it cost him by not winning that race.
Yeah, I'm watching this video, and you get kind of like caught up in it, and you're kind of like, I don't even know. I know it sounds weird, but I was kind of like, come on, you know what I mean? I'm like watching this, and I'm like,
yeah.
And you know the outcome, but I was like, still watching it and anticipating him getting around this track and winning it. But I was just like, man, I got to see how this goes down because I never watched it.
Mm-hmm.
But looked like he had a lot of power. But
Did Joel have a lot of power?
Yeah. He had that Trinity power.
Well, that was a big thing because they had never shown the Losi XX at that time. So they arrived to that race with the Losi XX as a prototype. But,
okay.
But it was a finished car. Like, it had all molded parts. I mean, it was like they really kind of pulled the rabbit out of the hat with that car. And, the fact that Joel TQ'd with it was still, it was kind of enough to get the ball rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, because then they advertised it as the fastest car at the Worlds then.
In the world.
Yeah.
And, it was. It was good. The car worked well. They had the Hydra drive. It was.
I bought that car right when it launched.
Yeah, I mean, I never got a chance to race that car because I was an Associated guy, and we had the RC10. But I did buy one, and I built it. Or no, my friend Mike Mellon gave me most of a car, and then I bought. Like stuff that he had.
Mm-hmm.
Because he ran Losi. We were friends, and I told him, I was like, dude, I want to try this car. When no one's around. So I got one, and from him, and then I finished it off. I painted the body all silver. And I took it to the track, and I drove it during the week against my car to see how it, stacked up against mine. See if I was missing out on anything. And, considering how big of a difference it was between an RC10 and a XX, I want to say that it was only 3 to 4 seconds difference on the track after 4 or 5 minutes. That was the difference on my home track. And they were dramatically different cars. One was all aluminum, the other one was all plastic, different arm lengths, geometry differences, wheels. I mean, it was Hydra drive. I mean, it was an entirely different car. Way bigger differences than there are today. And I remember being kind of pissed because I drove it and I was like, that my home track in Orlando, and I was like, I'd run a whole run. I'd water the track to make sure it was the same every time.
You did?
Yeah. So I'd go water the track, make sure it was right. I had the same tires on both cars, same motor in both cars. So I'd prep the track exactly the same, and then I'd time a 4-minute run. I was good on the track, obviously, where I could just go out there and run, lap after lap. I didn't have to turn marshal.
Mm-hmm.
And, I remember I would, drive that car, and I didn't feel like I was going faster. You had kind of have that clock going in your head. And I remember thinking, it feels okay. Working pretty well. But I didn't feel like I was really going dramatically faster. But at the end, I remember being a little faster with it. You there?
Yep.
Okay. I went to my headset.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I had to have the car because Joel ran it.
Yeah. Cool guy Joel. So I remember what I did is I looked over the car.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, besides all the obvious things about these differences with the cars, and I started looking at the differences in the geometry and, the springs, the Losi springs versus the associated. And, this is when you're, just really, really into stuff. At the time, you go to school and you race. So it was like you had tons of time. You could sit there and work on it all. And
yeah, school was an inconvenience. Couldn't wait to go home.
That's the truth.
Work on the cars. Though I love going to school, though.
You did?
Hanging out. Yeah, I loved it.
Dude.
Loved going and just bullshitting about TV shows that were on Fox, especially on Sunday night. We talked about this before. But, Married with Children and all that stuff. And we show up to school Monday morning, just bullshit about all the stuff that we saw on TV. In Living Color, Married with Children, Get a Life, Gary Shandling. It was so much fun.
You're in the time machine right now.
I am. I'm always in the time machine. I live in the past. I can't get out of it. I hate the future. And I had my car action magazines with me. Sometimes, more than one, more than two, and just sit there and, especially during study hall, read that baby from front to back. And then do it all over again. And you thought you were so cool carrying a car action magazine. The kids would be like, man, what is that? What's that about? And you tell them, this is RC car. And they have world championships. See? Look, this guy won the world championship. Look, see? And they're like, what? They race those little cars and win championships?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody in my school raced. I was the only one.
Which really says a lot,
It does?
No, just in terms of, how many more people are out there that could do it that don't.
Yeah.
I think I was the only one in my class or my school that raced. I started with my cousin, but he only ran novice like 2 times, and then that was it.
Wearing the Trinity shirts. And then when Joel came out, or Trinity came out with the Joel Magic Johnson shirt, oh my God. It said Magic Motorsports on it.
And you're like, this is...
The passion was unreal, Jason. I loved RC. Still do, but I just don't understand much of it today. Like, all these different classes and stuff, I'm pretty lost.
I think you have a decent grasp of it. Considering that you're not, in it or racing, I think you got a pretty decent grasp.
I'm like, okay, now what's 17.5 compared to back then? Like, okay, what's this class compared to, it's like, we just had mod and stock. Now we got all these, like, I don't know. I see these different classes and I'm like, what's that? What's Blinky mean? I don't know what all this stuff means. What do I want to race if I got into it today? Where do I go? So it seems a little confusing. I'm
racing,
sure it's easy, but
I'm sure there's some legitimacy to your questions. I'm sure.
You got a lot more choices now, that's for sure.
You do.
Yeah, it's like, wow.
I think what you would get into in our racing would be like independent buggy. That'd be like running two-wheel buggy, 17.5 motor, but no sponsors.
So what's a 17.5? Because, I used to race modified, so, I mean, 17.5 seems like something I could definitely handle.
Yeah.
Because we used to race like 12 doubles and triples, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be, I wouldn't see it as being, I don't know what I'm really trying to say. They're fast.
What did I run up at Vintage Nationals? What was that mode?
That was 17.5.
Okay, I can handle that then, for sure. I was doing great until my turnbuckle, my aluminum turnbuckle,
snapped on you.
Yeah, man, that's one I wish I could have back.
Yeah, you come right back. You travel back in time.
Yep, get titanium on there and see where I'd go with it. Because I really wasn't doing that bad for 18 years off the track.
No, you weren't.
I think you were impressed a little. Just a little.
Yeah, I mean, you were getting around. I thought you did a good job. And what did I drive the other day? It's kind of been a while since I've really kind of raced.
What? You're racing every weekend. What are you talking about?
I don't race, though. When I go to these races, I just go to support, our drivers and.
Well, yeah, not the big races, but you're racing down in Florida.
I haven't raced here since April, I think.
Oh, really? I thought you ran that e-buggy and stuff, that 8-scale.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I did run that. Yeah. That's my bad. I forgot about that already. But yeah.
How'd you do in that race with that thing? You might have talked about it, but I forget.
I TQ'd and then...
of course.
I TQ'd and then I crashed a ton in the main.
Oh, did it? Would you get nervous?
No. Well...
Crashed a lot.
I ran some practice. Then I got into qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
And things were going pretty good. I was trying different tires. Mounted up a different set of tires, tried that. TQ'd the second round. Then I was like, all right, I'm going to mount up a different set of tires for the main, try something else. And then Paul wanted me to gear up, and I did need to gear up. So we geared up 2 teeth, put a different set of tires on the car, and then there was quite a while before my main. So I was like, I'm going to go take a nap.
Oh, I remember you talking about this. Okay.
So I went to my truck and took a nap.
You were just out of it.
And,
yeah.
Dude, I got back on the track, and I don't really want to use it as an excuse because there's probably more than that, but...
You were just out of it.
I crashed like 10 times in that race at least.
Wow.
And every time I was like, okay, that's it. I'll get it together. Then something else would happen. Then I was like, okay, that's it. I was just getting pissed.
This reminds me of that Seinfeld episode where the guy's playing tennis. He sold Jerry that racket.
What was that guy's name?
I forget, but I wonder how many people are like, wait a minute, that guy owns JConcepts?
What a squid.
To the hobby shop. grab me those AKA tires off there.
He's a squid.
Yeah. You know, we were just talking about the turnbuckles. This question just came in from Dirk Anderson. Who has broken more titanium turnbuckles, me or Gotti? Now, Dirk, mine were not titanium. That's a good one.
That's true. Just
got a couple. See, if you can only go to one race a year, what would it be?
Oh, that's for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they would be asking you that, right?
I would go to. I want to say like Aurora Nationals, but I don't know. They don't seem as prestigious as they once were. I guess it would be like one of your races, or maybe that. Oh, you know what? I'd like to go to the Rady race. The Invitational. Yeah. That'd be awesome. For me, it would be awesome just to go to and watch.
I would say that most people would probably pick that race. I would say the best main event to watch is the Truggy and the Buggy mains at the Nitro Challenge are probably the two main events that are best to watch in person. I think they're great. The Reedy race, a good race. I'm not a huge fan of the Invite class, to be honest.
No.
I mean, it's good, but it's not my favorite.
Does Tim Wald still race that?
He didn't race this year. I think it was the first time he's hasn't ran it in probably, a long time.
Wow. That's a shame.
Well, he made a switch to Losi just about that same time.
Oh, that'd be tough then.
And I think he was trying to build his cars and, to try to build his cars and get to the race and everything else. It was just going to kind of be like a lot of work, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Nitro Challenge mains, that's as a spectator. I wouldn't want to race that race. But as a spectator, I definitely think it's great, the mains. As a racer, or the Desert Classic has been a nice race recently. The surface is a little tougher than most people have probably ran on, but just the track itself, the facility, where it's at is really pretty special. We just finished our spring indoor nationals at Tacoma. That's a good track. See, the problem for me is I want to race on the kind of track that I like.
Yeah.
So I want to race an outdoor. I want to race a 10 scale outdoor race on red dirt is the race I want to run. And it doesn't exist right now.
Oh, it don't? Why is that?
So, well, you have to race, somewhere in the southeast, up into like Georgia or, Alabama, places that they have the, that type of surface. That's what I want to run on.
Yeah.
And that would be the race that I would ask or recommend.
I would like to go to Hobby Haven in Iowa. Have you ever been there?
No.
I love their videos because the track looks like, something from back in the day. It's a nice track and just looks like grassroots racing, I just like the setup. Like the shop is right there. I'll post photos, but I think once you see the photos, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know Hobby Haven. John Bolton races there. He posts a lot of live videos of that. And they have like Wednesday night racing, Friday nights. It's just really cool atmosphere. It's don't know. I just love that track, and I always tell those guys that when they're posting videos. I'm like, man, this track looks way fun, and in the atmosphere, it's like it's in a busy district. It looks like there's a huge parking lot, like a strip mall parking lot, and it just looks really cool. And it has trees. There's a tree on the track that they go around. Just really awesome.
Oh, you know what? I have ran there.
I figured. I mean,
Yeah, and I did. I liked it.
I'm watching a video now of it. I love it. Go right around that tree, down the straightaway.
Yep.
Just looks like a lot of fun. Man, wish I'd lived close to that. I'd be there a lot. Wish I had something like that around here. So I would go to Reedy, and then I'd go to whatever Hobby Haven has going on. We should do a Radio Impound Invitational at Hobby Haven.
There you go.
Invite a bunch of people that can't drive.
And you
That would be me too.
You're like, number one on the list, me.
Yeah, I'd be number one for sure. Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. Dirk had another question here for you. How did you and Allison meet? Wasn't it at...
It was in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, was that a race?
No, it was at their St. Patrick's Day. They have a big St. Patrick's Day party there. And they have a street called, why don't I remember the name of it? Well, anyway. They have a street there that they pretty much closed down. And it's just used for, partying. And people are down there, and they, people are out there having a good time. And
now, wait a minute. What were you doing there, like in Georgia?
Well, I went with my friends to the St. Patrick's Day.
You went there just for a parade?
Yeah, for the party.
Wow, that must have... Okay. How old were you about?
Let's see. Early 20s, I guess you could say.
Wow, so you go to this parade just to party, and you meet Allison.
Yep.
What was she doing? Just standing by you or something?
Well, no, she was there with her friends. She came up from Florida with her friends to party, and I went up there with my friends.
Both of you come from Florida, right?
Yep.
Wow. That's nuts.
It is. And then we met them on the street.
Oh, wait a minute now. So Allison went to Georgia, you go to Georgia, but you guys you didn't know nothing about each other. You didn't see each other ever. Okay.
No.
All right.
And you go down to the street. I think it's River Walk. I don't remember what it is. It's something like that.
Not close enough.
River Street. So we're down there at River Street, and the thing to do is it's just like Mardi Gras. You buy the beads.
Oh, no. Wait. You got to keep this minivan friendly.
Yep. It is.
Jason threw the beads at Allison. Oh, God.
Well, what happens is you go and buy the beads. They sell all these different ones.
Yeah.
So you go there, me and my friends were, buying all the cool beads, and you hang them all over you, and then you walk around, and the girls want to get the beads from you because you get all the cool ones.
Right. You say lift your shirt up.
Yeah, there's all kinds. You just wheeling and dealing.
Oh my God, this is great.
So, these girls. They walk by and, they're, how do I get these beads from you? Oh, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, we were down there and we were, playing those games.
Mm-hmm.
And her and her friends walked by and we're, doing the beads thing. And then they're like, hey, we started talking, and I don't remember how many beads beads were exchanged. But we started talking, and my friend lived downtown, so we're just like, hey, you guys want to come back to his place? And, we don't have to, we can just chill at his apartment, drink, make our own drinks or whatever. And, yeah, so they came over, and then we were just all hanging out. And one of my friends actually ended up dating one of Allison's friends for quite a while. And then I was with Allison, and so yeah, been kind of together ever since, I guess you could say.
So did Allison end up living close to you in Florida?
She was in Orlando. She was in Orlando, and I'm in Claremont, and they're about 40 minutes apart.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Wow. That would have sucked if she was all the way down at the bottom, Tampa or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was very...
That's amazing. That's an amazing story.
Yeah, it's very kind of lucky. Very lucky from that
She's
standpoint.
like, what do I got to do to get these beads off you, Jason? And Jason says, marry me. That's it. Done.
I was like, hold my beer. No, I didn't drink beer.
Well,
I don't drink. I don't really drink anymore. I mean, I have maybe a couple here and there throughout the year, but back then you were going out all the time, and whether it's bars or clubs and with your friends, and it was just a lot different. Once you get older, and just all that stuff just doesn't seem to matter anymore. Not like it did anyway.
We talked about this yesterday on the RIP drive-thru, which is on the Anchor app exclusively. Check it out. And I don't. We talked about this yesterday, where I'd be lucky if I have one beer a year. I just really don't like. I drink a beer and I don't feel good. Like, I just feel tired, and I just don't like the whole feeling of it anymore, and I just don't do it. But I mean, when I was 21, man, I partied with the best of them. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it ended pretty quick too. But because I don't like getting sick and stuff. So, but yeah, no more for me. So I don't know much about alcohol. So we were discussing yesterday. We got all these, we have the grocery store here opened up. They got they opened up a cafe and have beer in it and stuff, and it was a big thing yesterday in this town, in this small little town. Because as I mentioned in the other show, PA has a lot of weird restrictions and rules, I guess, which they're easing up on, and so now we got like convenience stores getting beer, and in this town it's a big deal. A lot of people drink and stuff. So, but me, I'm like, oh, what's this? Oh, yeah, what's that? Like, I wouldn't even know what to buy, especially IPAs. I have no clue what to buy. I would have to check in with Kirby before I bought them.
Our resident expert.
Yeah, he's the expert on all that stuff, and but yeah, I don't. All that stuff on the shelf is like, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I don't know anything about this stuff besides your regular Budweiser and stuff like that. But yeah, those days are gone. And they didn't have like all this stuff they have today. Back when we, all these IPAs. They didn't have that stuff back then. We had Zima. Here's a question for you from Pete Phillips, Jason.
Okay.
How does Jason remember details from races weeks later? Does he take notes during race weekends for later commentary on RIP or the JC vlogs? So how do you remember all the details from these races? Do you actually take notes?
No.
Or do you just remember them?
Yeah, I just remember.
Hey, he's a genius, Pete. What are you going to do? I mean, I forget things from the next day to the next day. Jason, he remembers weeks out, months out. Yeah, so no notes for Jason.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if we're trying to get serious about if the vlog or whatever the case may be has to be perfect, or I don't know, that's really not the right word, perfect, but If there's something that I'm having trouble remembering or want to get it right, then I'll make some small notes, or I'll just go brush up on the last vlog we did to make sure you're not go over the same thing twice. But
yeah,
usually once I start talking about it, I remember a lot of the details about what happened for some reason. I guess it's just some people can do that, I guess. I used to be even better about it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, because that's how we talked about races in the old days. You would go to a race, you'd come home, and I remember calling Paul and my other race friends, Jeff and these other guys, and you have to, rehash the whole race. It's like if you did the Nationals in the 96 Nats, you had to do that, and you had to come back and you had to tell everybody, what happened.
Yeah.
And that's
I recently put up the interview we did with Chris Bing back in 2013, I think it was. And I was listening to that, and it brought back a lot of memories. So go listen. That's up on YouTube now also, the Chris Bing interview.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, that's how we did it in the old days. I mean, I'd come back and I'd tell Paul, I'd call him and I'd tell him every detail there was, like, oh, then this happened, in the second qualifier, and then this, and then we went to this, and we did this.
Yeah.
And it's like he'd have the full. It was a full upload. Come back and upload it all.
So I was mentioning we posted that the Chris Bing interview up on YouTube, and Paul Ciccarello responded, and he listened to the interview, and he said, "I went to Wagon Hill before the 96 Nationals, and tried those IFMAR studs, and they were terrible. 22 years later, I finally get the scoop."
Had to be worn in.
Yep. Oh, Pete, Jason is known as One Take Rona. He does all those like vlogs and in one take. Isn't that amazing? One Take Rona, right?
That's what Neo Buggy and Red RC used to call me.
One Take Rona.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Tim. I'm going to butcher your last name, Tim. Tim Merzine. Will JConcepts ever release another car? Maybe a monster truck?
I don't think so. We've talked about it a little bit here and there, but the issue is at the moment is there's just a lot of competition now, and in order to do things right, you're not only making one vehicle, you end up having to make several vehicles. And it's extremely expensive. So you have to, it's all in. And there's no screwing around anymore, because now all the people that used to be, I don't know what you could say, like allies, at this point we have some allies in the business with Associated and TLR and HB Racing and, some Mugen and Yokomo, and we have a lot of allies. But as soon as we make our own car and compete against them, we're on our own. And,
Creating enemies.
Yeah, so it's not going to happen on the racing side of things, or Penske off-road or something like that. I'd love to get into something that was a fun vehicle,
I think that's what he's saying by, monster truck maybe?
But still, even on that level, it would be a really expensive undertaking. So I don't know that it'll happen, right now. But, we'd like to do something, because, we started with a car, the BJ4, and we started with a body and a car, and won a world championship with the car. But I think, to do it again, it would have to be a little different for sure.
All right. He also asked, what's your favorite way to prep/sauce gold dirt webs? What's your favorite way to prep those babies?
Well, the hot thing now is what the guys do is they get them mounted up on the wheels. What guys like to do is buy one of those chucks for the drill that you can put the mounted tire on a drill. Then you spin it up, and we take Scotch-Brite and we stuff the tire in with some. I like the red Scotch-Brite, and we scuff them in with that. Then you sauce them, put them in a bag for a little while, and then take them out, get ready to run, and then maybe about three practice runs with cycling. You run, you come back, sauce, run again, sauce. So after about 3 times, you pretty much have a good set of tires for racing on a clay track. And that's really pretty common now.
Tim also asked, I'm pretty sure Jason had a room near us at the 95 Nats at the Hampton Inn. What RC drivers would you want for your Hampton Inn 5? Okay,
so what was this name?
Tim, I'm butchering the last name, I'm sure. Tim Murzyn. It's Murzyn.
Okay, so I had a room. So the 95 Nationals would have been in Savannah. Yeah, probably the Hampton Inn.
Must have meant 96. What was 96?
Well, 96.
I don't think there was a Hampton Inn.
No, I think we stayed at a Hampton in Savannah. I think it's still there, honestly. But so my Hampton 5. So these are people that were probably staying at the Hampton that I'd want on my team. Oh, but he's also talking about, this is like a dual thing, because the Golden State Warriors call their 5 guys the Hamptons 5.
Oh.
So the Golden State Warriors apparently, a few years ago, they went to the Hamptons, like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green, and Kevin Durant. They all met in the Hamptons before they signed Durant, and that was their sales pitch. That was their sales pitch at that time to Kevin Durant to sign with the team, and Draymond Green calls that the Hamptons 5. So okay. I got to pick 5 guys. The way I would approach this is I got to pick 5 guys that I would want on my team, and I'm going to say if you were to rerun the race, because
okay.
So you let's say 5 guys. So
from today's group, can I pick Mayfield?
No, because I think it would be like who was at that Hampton, right?
Okay. I don't know. I have no idea, but let's just say that. So Kinwald?
Well, that's the question. Do I want Kinwald on my team?
No, that's right. He's with Losi. Is he with Losi then?
He was, yeah. You kind of have to pick him, but
90. When did he switch? 94.
Yeah, the beginning of '94.
Wow. He saw how good that car was that Joel ran at 93. That's why. He's like,
I'm sure it did.
I'm sure it didn't.
I'm sure it didn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So that my Hampton 5. Okay. So I guess I'm in it, and then I'm picking Brad Ralph because that was my friend from Florida. He was also fast on that track. I'll pick Mark Pavitas because he's one of my buddies and he was always fast. Well, I was fast, and I'll pick Paul Wynn because I think I probably stayed with him there. So that's 4. And who's my 5th guy? I mean, you could say Kinwald, but man, I hated Kinwald then. He was kicking my ass everywhere.
Yeah. I wanted to throw him off the driver's stand.
I love Kinwald, and I even liked him then. But in those days, it was just like, man, this guy, he was incredible. So yeah, if you're gonna go with a competitor, you go with Kinwald. At that time, who was the other associated driver we had there?
Scott Hughes.
I don't think Scott ran that race. I don't remember him being there. I don't remember him being there, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I would have probably picked him, but he wasn't there. One, two. I'm trying to think of where people qualified there, but I got a pretty good lineup.
Okay. Let's see that. Tim was there.
We'll put Tim as the 6th man.
There you go, Tim. That's what he wanted to hear. Finally, we got to it. There you go, Tim. You're coming off the bench.
Yep. First guy off the bench. Oh, you know what would be another good one? Mark Francis. He would have been a good... I would have put him... I would have definitely put him in my 5. So if we were going to say a competitor and we had to pick, I'd do Kinwald. But if I was picking somebody on my team, I would pick Mark Francis.
I guess, okay. This is from Chris Trudell. Is Tacoma RC Raceway the greatest clay in the JConcepts Indoor National Series?
Say we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, probably is. The dirt is awesome. I know Ryan wishes he could take it with him to just about every track he goes to indoors. He loves that dirt. And we haven't been to Beach RC yet. That's where our new, our finals race is there this year. And
cool.
From what I understand, it also is very good dirt. A lot of people comes very highly. I don't know what the right word is, but
where's that track at?
Beach RC is in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But I would say they probably would be, well, from what people say, they're going to be right up there. And then this year, St. Louis, this was our first race of the series in February. They actually put in new dirt this year. It's actually really good. I don't know that it was on the Tacoma level yet, but actually it was a big improvement over what they had before, and people really liked it. Definitely better. They made an improvement. So
we got a question here from Randy Pike, who is scheduled to be on the show next week.
Nice.
Randy's got some new teak and stuff coming out. wants to come on the show and talk about it.
We got
let's
some
see here.
servos.
We got. Oh yeah.
Pretty cool. They got some servos now. We talked about them a little before, but they are cool.
Randy asked, how did you and Jason come together for the RIP podcast? That's 2012. We interviewed Jason, and this was at the A-Scale Nats. I think that was the first time you were on the show.
Yeah, sounds right.
Then we brought you back on the show again to interview, and then we were just, I don't know, everything clicked like between the three of us, Kirby, me, Jason. It just worked out well. We're just like, I don't know, Jason. I think Jason just forced himself onto the show after that.
Yeah, I just said, hey guys.
I think you started. I think you're a regular on the show not too long after the Nats.
Yeah,
I would
say in 13 for sure.
13, yep.
Is it really, if we finish this whole year, that's 5 years?
Yeah, it is 5 years.
That seems incredible.
Gosh. It really is.
I mean, it's quite an accomplishment.
It's about the only thing I ever accomplished. Yeah.
And it's still going.
And it's still going. Yeah, we have fun doing it. I bust balls, but I have fun doing it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. So.
Yep. I see a part 2 of Chris Trudeau.
Oh, did I miss something from Chris? Oh my God! Yeah, how did I miss this? Jesus. All right, here you go from Chris. What do you think about a race that involves the top drivers from each manufacturer trading cars with another top driver? Reedy format. 1 5-minute heat per car, competing for an best overall drive. Oh my God, I'm lost here. I hope you understand this. Couple warm-up laps on the other cars to get familiar. Mayfield, Yokomo, Fenn, Lucy, Cavalieri. What's he mean here?
I think what
Swapping
he's saying,
cars?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying, is you take 5 drivers and you basically just flip the cars around. So it's like,
so you tell like Mayfield to run a X-ray,
yeah,
for example.
Yeah, he gets the X-ray, he gets a couple warm-up laps, and then you have to race.
So what do you think about a race that involves the top drivers from each manufacturer trading cars with another top driver?
Honestly, I think Mayfield or Dakota wins this. I think one of those two guys wins this format, because I think a lot of people say that Mayfield and Fenn can drive. They are the least critical of the setup being perfect for them to perform. And I feel like if you're going to drive somebody else's car, that's the strength that those guys have. Like, they could adapt pretty quickly. Does that make sense?
I mean, I think any of those guys can. I don't think they'd have a problem. I mean,
yeah. You're right. I mean, that's they're all going to do well, but I've heard Cavalieri tell Mayfield on more than one occasion, "You can just drive broken better than any of us." This one for you.
Oh, where's this at?
Who's stronger, Ken Patera or Popeye?
Ken Patera, obviously. Look at the photo. He's holding back a van that's trying to drive him into the wall. Popeye ain't doing that.
Well, like, Popeye was known for his forearms.
Yeah, Ken Patera's just a beast all around.
Yeah. Plus, he needed spinach.
Yeah.
Popeye needed, that's like steroids.
That's true. All right. This is easy, Randy. What RC driver does Gotti and Jason have the most respect for over his or her career? Joel Johnson.
Yeah, this is tough. So because it's like, in a sense, there's, this is coming down to, the respect of the driver, right? It's not necessarily who you think is the best driver, right? Which I think yours is still, still holds.
Hell yeah, it does.
Either way, I think you're going with Joel. But, it's like, you can't really go against him.
No, never. The Magic Man, rules, GOAT.
For me, the most respect. Ugh. This is tough. It's
Cliff Pavitas.
Yeah, they're high. They're high on the list. Adam Drake, he's high on the list. You got to think that, to me, I guess the way I see this question is somebody that has turned their RC driving and their RC racing into something even besides just the racing itself. So,
Joel Johnson, a.k.a. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I was saying earlier, that yours is, pretty solid.
Yeah.
The Cliff Lett, the Mark Pavitas, those are solid. And, I say Adam Drake because now you're talking about somebody that's, he's turned his driving into, and he's never been, the thing about Adam is he's never been the best driver. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about somebody that's really kind of made the most out of what he has been given, just from an effort standpoint. I remember telling some people years ago, like the Stephen Hartson, and I remember them asking me about things and, how much money, should we be making doing this? And, I remember telling them, I said, hey, you guys have the wrong role models here. I'm like, you're thinking that, you want to be a Cavallari or a Mayfield or a Tebow. I'm like, but you've already been doing this long enough that you're not. And you need to pick a different role model here, because if you're going to have a career in this, you have to figure out a different way you're going to be able to do it. Because these guys are obviously better, and they are the select few that are able to get the results to continue their contracts and win bonus money to make a good living. Now, that's very few and far between for everybody else. Everybody else might as well work at McDonald's, because that's, you don't make enough money. It's a very small percentage of people. It's not even a percentage. It's down to enough people on, your hands and feet that can actually do it as a career, as a driver. So that's why Adam gets so high on the list, because he's never been the best driver, talent-wise, but he's put a lot of work and dedication. People like him, which is big, and he always has done well for the brands he represents. So, at this point, he's been racing and doing it longer than a lot of the old school guys. Like if you look at, like Cliff Lett's RC racing career is very short in comparison now to a lot of these other guys. Let's say Cliff started, let's just say it was 87 to 97. I mean, he was racing for 10 years. You know, he had a killer 10 years, but it was 10 years. I mean, you're looking at, you know, some of these other guys, they're, you know, far surpass that in the amount of years and everything else. So, you know.
Like Joel.
Well, I mean, even Joel's RC racing career is, I mean, he started a little earlier. I think he started in the early 80s. But his peak was probably, you know, mid to late 80s to, you know, in that same area, probably 96, 97, you know, 98. That was probably his peak years.
Don't worry, kid. If you lose this race, we're done.
No pressure.
No pressure. Ernie to Joel. You can check out that interview on the RIPCast throwback on all your popular podcast apps. I uploaded that over the weekend too.
Awesome. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would say those guys. Those are the type of guys that I'm looking at the moment.
Okay. I think Randy wanted to hear his name in there. Okay, Randy.
Yep.
When is Jason Ruona going to use my paint scheme for a JC body release? I only have a few years left. I can promise an increase in haters, no sales increases.
Hey, you know what? He does have a pretty cool paint job, too. Just when it comes down to when we actually do a new body or something, I end up, we completely forget about his paint job.
Oh, Kyle Predmore. That's right. Kyle was out there with you at the Indoor Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
How bummed is Jason that the selfie didn't happen? He's in the dumps about it.
We needed to get that selfie done. You know, we did have maybe like 2 moments where we was about ready to get the selfie done, and
then people came up to you looking for autographs.
No,
stuff like that.
It just didn't happen.
You signed some autographs at these races? I'm sure you do on the shirts and stuff, right? Yeah.
Every once in a while.
I was telling you when I was watching that 93 video on Kinwall won the Worlds, and I think I asked you in our chat, like, does this happen today? Like, when Kinwald walked down from the stand, everybody was getting his autograph. And I just don't know if it's like that today or not, but it was pretty interesting to see.
That's an awesome scene. That's a really good scene where it was just a, you know, and it's a different time period because you didn't have the internet, you didn't have the social media. So when you saw Kinwald in person, it was a big deal. And, you know, you did the magazine thing and all that, and people. So when you were there, it was important to go home with something, an autograph or, you know, some kind of memento that you saw something cool. And you know, when the U.S. guys would go out of country, and we go into race in another country, I would say that I would say that our drivers are very popular when we go to these other countries to race. I'm not really sure why that is, but everywhere I've gone with, you know, Mayfield and these guys, and even when I did as a racer, people really like seeing you. And I mean, like when we went to Japan a couple of years ago, and every morning we'd get to the track, wait for them to open the door, and there'd be these kids out there every morning looking to see Mayfield, you know, and they would sit there and they would just like stare at him, and he's like, "Why are these kids staring at me?"
Yeah.
I don't know. So he's like, he would say something to them, and they're just like, "Oh, hey,"
Yeah. It was
funny.
awesome for them now to see him.
And Ryan says it happens to him all the time. Like, he says he can feel people staring at him when he's just wrenching and working on his stuff, and like he's like, you can you can feel it. He said when you're wrenching, you can feel all these people watching you, and he's like, I'm just putting my shocks on, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
And you want to see somebody that's good at something, how they do it, right? I mean, that's what I always tell them.
So there is still kind of that out there today, like that some guys are in awe of what, Mayfield's showing up at the track. But
yeah, and I think it's kind of like it's like I remember when, I'd go see the Chicago Bulls play in Orlando in the 90s. And I remember when you look at the people, they're all staring at the same guys. Like there's 20,000 people staring at Jordan the entire game.
Jordan.
But I remember picking up on things like, they would sitting at the scorer's table ready to check in and getting some gum from, whoever before they get in the game. Like all these little things. And I think that's what people try to take in. They they try to, as dumb as it sounds, like you try to humanize it a little bit. It's like, oh, these are just freaking people. They just happen to be good at this thing. But it's like, it's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you want to see that. I think you want to prove it to yourself that, these are just people, and for whatever reason, they just happen to be good at this. But, hey, this guy he goes to Starbucks, and this guy likes to have a beer, and this, guy chooses gum, and you know what I mean? Like those are the kind of things I think you're looking for to go, yeah, this is just some, they're like, these are just, no matter who it is, like if it's a professional athlete or some type of, famous actor or whatever. You were saying something about Spencer?
When we were in Vegas, we had some guy in the mall. I was like, aren't you Spencer?
Oh, yeah. We were in the mall in Vegas. We were looking at shoes at the shoe store. Some guy comes up to Spencer and says, aren't you Spencer Rifkin? He's
really?
just like, yeah. He's just like, yeah. He's like, man, I got that B5 with your picture on the box.
Oh my God, that's cool.
It's like, what are you doing here? Yeah, so it.
Did he sign an autograph?
I don't think in the shoe store, no. I remember Mayfield telling me that he was talking to some of the NASCAR drivers get in and out of RC. And there was a time when one of them, they wanted to race truck all the time, like stadium truck. Mm-hmm. And so there was a couple of the guys, and Mayfield went to one of the NASCAR races in Arizona. And I guess the guy told him, they said, hey, I raced this years ago. I raced a T4 back home in North Carolina, and and Ryan, I was asking Ryan all these setup questions about his truck, and this is a NASCAR driver, and Ryan's just like, giving him all the setups and everything else, and the guy, he just, and so finally, I guess he just tells Ryan, he's like, look, I want to buy your truck, your whatever, your T4. I just want it. I don't care if I have to buy it or you can give it to me or whatever the case may be. I just want it. So Ryan ends up getting him this T4, and the guy just thinks it's going to be magical. He's thinking, I got Ryan's T4. there's no way any of these other guys are going to beat me now. Like this, there's something that he knows about getting this thing dialed in. And he gets it, and he goes and races it. He's like, it's just like my other truck. He's like, because I expected this thing to like drive itself around the track.
Oh my God.
And Ryan's just like, he's like, hey, what can I tell you? I'm good at this. Like he's like, there's a lot of driving in this that you're not.
Right.
The guy's just so disappointed because he's like, he thought he was going to get this truck from Ryan. He was just going to destroy, his other buddies. And he was just like, so I really have to actually be a good driver, like he's like just kind of discounting or whatever the right word is, the driving aspect. He was thinking it was all about the vehicle, and Ryan was like, well, no, it's really all about the driving. This guy, and he's just like, well, shit.
A question that just came in from Javier Anaya. For Jason, what was your first full-scale car?
Ford Explorer.
Oh, what year was that?
I think it was a 91 or 2.
Okay. And what car do you wish you could have?
I'm a truck guy. I am a truck guy. It's hard for me to. I would want the brand new Raptor. That's what I want. But
yeah.
if I had to get,
just go get it.
It's not that easy.
Oh.
If it had to be a car, I like. Who else asked me this? You know what car I really like, and I don't know if it's still cool or not, but the old Aston Martin stuff. What's it, a DB9 or a DB7? I loved that thing when I saw it. I don't know.
What car I wish I could have?
Geo Tracker.
Yeah. I want a Geo Tracker, guys. Any listeners out there to find me one at a good price, let me know. In somewhat good condition too, please.
Yeah,
I think Pete sent me a photo. It might have been Pete Phillips sent me a photo of one for sale somewhere a while back, and it was looked pretty nice. I needed to change the tires on it though. The rims were pretty bad on it, but
he's good at that. He tracks down vehicles on Facebook. He sends me links all the time.
Yeah. So why did you choose the Raptor? Just badass looking. That's why.
I just love trucks. I thought it was one of my favorite vehicles, F-150.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite vehicle that I had previous to this, and then I saw this, and to me it was just like the ultimate F-150. I was like, man, this thing is awesome. It was like the coolest street truck, I thought. DB9, Aston Martin, DB9. I think there's a DB7 too. These things, looking at this now, I don't know if I'm as into it now as I was before. I don't know why, but.
Gotti, what's your favorite? This is from Javier. Gotti, what's your favorite all-time video game? SOCOM 2.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of memories from that game. Me and Kirby staying up to like 4 or 5 in the morning, watching the sunrise, playing that game online. God damn, it was awesome. Best WWE crew skit. I think he means. I think he's meaning faction. WWE faction, which.
What does that mean?
If you're talking strictly, well, like NWO, like a group.
Oh.
Like, but I mean, if you're strictly talking WWE factions, I guess you're gonna have to go with DX. You're gonna have to answer Chili Duncan's, because you know what? I'm gonna admit this. I have no idea what this is about. Do you? You see Chili's question there?
Yeah, I don't know either.
I mean, I see it on Facebook and stuff, but I have no clue what it's about or what they're even. I never even looked into it. So, regular denim or stretchy from Rod Sturchill. That's easy, stretchy.
That's what you like?
American Eagle Flex. They're the best jeans you'll ever wear.
Regular denim or stretchy? I don't know. So it's the denim itself just kind of has some stretchy characteristics, right?
Yeah, and they're comfortable as hell.
I think I actually do get some of the stretchy ones, but I do have some of the regular ones.
American Eagle Next Level Flex.
I get the Buffalo at Buckle. That's where I was. Kyle Predmore. I got to give him a shout out.
Do what?
I have to give Kyle Predmore a shout out.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, that was it.
I saw you take a video of Kyle sweeping the track.
Yeah, he did a good
at Tacoma.
He did a good job with that.
Oh, here's another question I missed from Dennis Zellers. Big forum debate: is VTA entry level class? If not, what is then?
VTA, that is the vintage Trans Am. I don't think it's an entry level class because I don't think you can buy one as a finished vehicle. So I don't think you can actually buy a VTA vehicle. You have to kind of put one together. You have to get the touring car or whatever, the chassis. You have to get the right wheels, the right tires. You have to get the right body. Then you put it together. It's more like a hobby class.
Okay.
I do think that it could be an entry-level class, but I think somebody would need to kind of have one that you could purchase and get going with it. As far as I know, you can't just buy one. I think I shared the Radio Impound thing, but
yeah, you did. I think that was under your share, that
okay.
question. And then Jake Engstrom says, need to dig up some more old school guests. Masami? Not sure about his English though. I think Masami's English is pretty good now, so we could probably do that. I saw an interview with him somewhere.
Yeah, it's okay. I think the interview would just be kind of short. It wouldn't.
We'll scratch him off the list then.
Yeah.
The time difference alone, we'd have to wait till he's in the States.
It would be a great interview to some extent, but then others you wouldn't. I mean, just because it's Masami, it'd be good to get an interview, but then it would be tough because you wouldn't probably get as complete of an answer as you would like, you know.
Yeah, plus I'm not getting up like 3 a.m. to do a podcast though. You know, like I said, he'd have to be in the States.
It's like, come on, Masami, just fly over.
We'll have to get some of the old guys back on the show again, though.
Yeah, I'd say maybe some people could message some guys they'd like to hear from. That would kind of help. Obviously, Gil Losi Jr. has been asked before, but he's so hard. He just gave me his new number at some race I was just at.
Oh, well, great. There we go. You have it. So let's just, we'll get a hold of him one day. I forget who it was, but he said, Gil will do the show. Just contact him anytime. And I don't think I ever did, but.
You're like, eh.
I'm like, screw him. I asked him a long time ago, you want to come on the show?
Exactly.
And heck with him. He ignored my emails and voicemails.
Screw 'em.
I don't even know what kind of voice I'm using right now.
I've had some good moments with Gil Losi Jr. Just, I did like 2 years or maybe a little less. I did some work with Team Losi.
Yeah.
And he was really pretty cool to talk with, to talk to, and to work with. He's also, he's from such the old days where you had to make a lot of things yourself. I was crafty making things, and I stayed out there. I helped those guys work on they lost a couple engineers at a time that was just not conducive to them getting some things done. So they asked me to come out there and help them work on one of their touring car projects as a designer. But it was Gil Jr.'s design. Mm-hmm. And then he just asked me to draw some of these parts up so they could machine them and make them for the Worlds in 2000. So I don't know how long I was out there. Maybe I was out there a month. I don't know. But I got out there, and they're just like, yeah, just stay with my dad, which Gil Sr. stay at his house. And
that's awesome. And
then Gil Sr. is just like, yeah, here's your bedroom. You're over here. He had an awesome house. Super amazing. And here's your bedroom, and he's like, here's a car. Just drive my car.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't remember how long I was there. A couple weeks or a month or however long I was there.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I'm like driving around his Cadillac CTS. And
awesome.
I'd go into Losi. I was driving Pops. He would drive one of his hot rods because he had like really, really nice hot rods. Him and Gary Kives were really into the hot rods. So he would drive he had like 4 cars. So it's like, I don't think he had his Ferrari at the time, but
Jesus.
But because there was a time where him and Gil Jr. both had Acura NSXs. They had matching, I believe they were matching NSXs, and then Pops had a Ferrari, and then he always had hot rods, which he loved his hot rods way more than he loved any of those other cars. So yeah, when I stayed at Pops' house, he's just like, yeah, just take the Cadillac, go to work, wherever you want to go, I don't care. And I'm just driving this car around and go to Losi, work with Gil on this car project, and just do whatever I wanted. It was pretty nice.
That's awesome.
It was pretty nice.
Trash the place.
I didn't do anything. I kept it clean. Tried to be nice to the car. So yeah, it was a good experience, and worked on that touring car project. And
I wish they would have never got out of it, but I understand why they did it. But it would have been cool if they're still around. Just Losi.
Yeah,
Losi.
It's tough because none of the Losis are at Losi anymore.
Yeah, it's weird.
But at some point or another, that always happens, right? There's technically at Associated, there's none of the original. Well, that's not really true.
Cliff there.
Yeah, I mean, Cliff wasn't original. I mean, he came in later, but there's but I guess the deal is eventually everything kind of has to keep moving. So people retire.
Yes.
People.
It's been cool though.
People retire. People die. It's like, it's like you just can't be there forever, right? Like, it's like Hulkamania. You know what I mean? It's like
that's still around. So.
Yeah, I know it is, but
it's Hulk Hogan's immortal.
That's true. The immortal Hulk Hogan.
I don't know. It'd just been cool if Gil Jr. would have kept it.
Agree.
And just ran it, and
it just, and I think
just seemed different after they got rid of it.
Well, it definitely was, because now it would just be like if our company, or JConcepts or any of these companies were taken over or bought by somebody else that was
big corporate,
looking more at the dollars than the passion side of it. There's no way they would be doing some of the things that we do, because they'd be like, hey, this doesn't make any money. Why do you do this? It's like, well, this is a part of our brand. This is a part of our heritage. And it's like, okay, well, I understand that, but this doesn't make any money. Oh, okay. Oh, so that's how it works. and that was Team Losi. That was Team Losi, because it was Junior and Pops, and they did what they wanted. They didn't care if the money people said, I don't understand what you're doing here. They would say, no, this is what we're doing. This is part of our deal. And that's what they did. And
but the WCW story here, where they had guys that the money, the suits didn't understand what Bischoff was doing, and not only was he doing it for money and stuff, he also had the passion for it, and they just drove it right out of him.
Yeah, and I think Losi or Team Losi did go through a little bit of a tough patch, because I think Horizon didn't understand it at all at first. They're just like, man, this is nuts, what you guys are doing here. And then, I think they kind of went through a transition where they said, okay, well, now we kind of, then after a while they understood like a little bit about the name and the brand and the racing, and hey, you got to work on you can't just come out with all these little toys all the time, and there is a racing market, and it does contribute to the brand name, and regardless of hey, you might be able to sell this mini T, you might be able to sell thousands of these mini Ts, but at some point the mini Ts quit selling because it's a gimmick, and then where do you go from there? And then they're like, well, we're selling these race cars. We might not sell as many as the mini T at first, but they're still selling. And I'm sure there's something to that effect. And they, oh, okay, now I get it. So I think that's, and now that's the point where they're in now, I think, where it's like, all right, we see this working, and now granted it's not, and just like all racing stuff, it's not just crazy money maker, but they're like, hey, this is consistent, this keeps our name going, it's another way to market different things and different brands, and stay on top of your equipment, technology. You can prove things are working. So I think eventually now that's kind of where they're at now, where they're like, man, this is important. So,
and they have good people in place now there with them, I think, too. So
yeah, which Todd Hodge, which he has connections with the Losi. The Losi's hired him, and
Right.
he has a little bit of that mindset of the low seas from those days, but he's been able to, I think, kind of blend with Horizon's way of doing things much better than the low seas were able to, and he has a good job because of it. And then you got Frank Root and Mike Mellon, and these guys have a lot of experience. They're really good at what they do, and I think it's pretty solid. And now with the fact that you got Horizon bought Great Plains, I think that position becomes more valuable.
I just watched a video they did the other day with showing you how they designed the cars and stuff. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's my. I believe it was. There was two guys. Kevin Gahan was on the right, Mike Mellon on the left.
Yeah, I like when they did that. It was kind of like pretty cool. Give you a behind the scene look and kind of break that corporate barrier a little bit.
Yeah, if that was the same video, Mike Mellon on the left, that was my friend that I was telling you about earlier that actually gave me part of the Low C XX to test because he's from Florida. So he was one of my racing buddies from Florida when we were younger. And I lived with him for almost 2 years when I moved to California.
I'll have to get him on the show and ask you what kind of roommate you were. I got to hear stories about that.
Yeah, we were all a little bit crazier and younger, for sure.
All right. Well, I think we hit everything. Looks good. You got anything else there?
Let's see, we were going to talk. There was a race that we just came back from. Oh, the Spring Indoor Nationals we just came back from.
Did we win?
Well, I wanted to be specific here. We won. I think we won 4 classes. Kind of a lot happened, but we did win 4 classes, I believe. And then Mayfield was in contention to win the 2-wheel mod class.
Okay.
He won the first main. Ty Tessman won the second main. The third main came down. Dustin Evans was between the two of them on the track. Ty got by Dustin, so now it was Ryan and Ty racing for the win. And then Tessman crashed, and I was like, sweet. I'm like, this is looking good. We're going to win this. Ryan was driving really well. Car looked good. All of a sudden, I'm underneath the driver's stand watching this race and see Ryan come through the sweeper. I see he's kind of a little bit of a, like a turn marshal trying to get a car or something, and I'm like, crap. So this turn marshal comes out onto the sweeper to get a crash car. On his way back to go back to his position, Ryan runs right into his leg on the track. Ryan's car flips over. The guy realizes that, hey, another car is flipped over. I need to turn around and grab this. He goes to grab it. He falls down. Then he's really trying to make up for it. He's trying to grab the car, flip it over. By this time, 4 guys went by Ryan. Ryan's in like 5th place. And then it was over.
Damn.
So Ryan ended up getting 2nd overall because there was 3 A mains. So he did have a 1st and a 2nd. His 1st and a 2nd wasn't as because Ty had a 1st and a 2nd, and Ryan had a 1st and a 2nd. but Ty won the tiebreak because it's combined times. The combined times from your best two finishes, and Ty was 1 second faster
man.
on the combined time, so he won the tiebreak. But the other thing about that is Ryan, the A main that Ryan won was the first main. He had a great race going, no crashes, and when he caught up to traffic at the end, they ended up getting into him at the end of the race and actually cost him a couple seconds in that first main. So it just wasn't meant to be. Because when the traffic hit him at the end of A1, all right, it was kind of frustrating, but he got through it. But then in the end, the thing with hitting the marshal, which wasn't the marshal's fault, it happens, but small track, a lot of chaos. But Ryan should have won that race. And but hit the traffic hit him at the end of A1, cost him time, and he was leading A3. The thing with the marshal cost him there, and going down to the tiebreak, ended up not getting the tiebreak because of the times. So, but you know what? The race went well all the way up until the last race. It was a good race. We talked about earlier, the surface was great. Did a bunch of interviews while I was there. I tried to make it a point, me and Thomas, to kind of knock out we always interview Ron Scher, so he does, because we talked to him on the podcast, but we did talk about Sure Speed. We talked about Hobby Wing. We talked to Brent Telke about the T6.1, him and Dustin Evans. We talked to them. We talked to Alex K about his SC 6.1.
The Wizard.
Talked to him. That was good. That was fun. We did a interview talking about our prize table, because we had some prizes. We talked to we talked to Jake Thayer. He came from OCRC to there. We talked to him. So we tried to get all these interviews done. And I thought we did a decent job. Came back, and Thomas wrote the report, and just to kind of quickly hit the results. So we did independent stock buggy, which was a pretty good class at the race. That's something that we created on our Super Cup, and now we've carried over to the National Series.
That's the class I would run, right?
That's the class you would run. Yep.
Okay.
We had Lee Connolly Jr. won that one, and ran it. We had a good turnout too in independent. We only take 40 entries in that class, just to kind of make it simple, and I think we got like 38 or something like that. So it was pretty good. And then Pro Stock Buggy was won by Sammy Moran, he's from California. Did a good job. He ran really well. You can tell he's getting faster. He's got a lot of experience now racing in California. He's running the TLR car, which worked really well. Then we had 13.5 Pro 2. That was where Alex K won with the new SC 6.1. He had a really good run, debuting that new truck. 13.5 Stadium truck. This is where Brent Telke ended up winning the main, but it was probably one of the better races of the whole weekend, because there was 4 guys that were really in contention for the win. We had Harley Yoshi was kind of one of the fastest local guys. He was right up there quite a bit, but then Brent, and then let me get the name right, Dalton Pierce, sorry, Shane Borden, and Douglas Hobbs, and then Harley Yoshi. And those 5 guys were they were like within a second. I mean, it was close. Yeah, like if you look at the top 4 guys, they were separated by, after the end of 8 minutes, they were only separated by 4 seconds.
Wow.
And so they were just interchanging all the time. They were like, just in and out. One guy, would be in second, and the next guy's in second. Then 13.5 four-wheel, Sammy Moran, again, from California, won that one. 4x4 short course. Mikey Brown, he's fast. Really good driver. 40-plus buggy, which was actually probably one of the funner races to watch because Brent Telke, always does so well in 40-plus buggy, and he TQ'd, but they convinced Scott Brown to come out of retirement and run, which he's not really retired, but he wasn't racing. And so he comes out for round 2 and 3, qualifies in the top 3, and then he ends up getting second in the main. And John Valencia actually ended up winning. So it was John Valencia, Scott Brown, and Brent got the top 3, which was a cool race. Two-wheel mod, we talked about that. Ty Tessman, Mayfield, Dustin Evans. Those guys were awesome. They're so fast. It's crazy. Four-wheel, Ty won four-wheel. Kind of a dominating win, really. All the qualifiers, the first 2 qualifiers, Mayfield was leading in four-wheel, because Mayfield TQ two-wheel. But in four-wheel, Mayfield was winning the first 2 qualifiers, and then he made a mistake, and Ty ended up TQ in the first 2 rounds. And then Ryan switched front tires for the main. He went to we were running dirt web fronts. Then he wanted to go to the space bar fronts, and they weren't broken in enough when he started running the mains, and his car was kind of pushy and just wasn't as fast or as competitive as he should have been. I mean, for the fact that he was leading all 3 qualifiers at one point or another, and a mistake dropped him from TQing those runs to the main, where he just didn't look as quick as he should have been. So he got third, Dustin got second, Ty got the win. Which Ty's, in four-wheel, he's one of the best. I think if Mayfield would have won two-wheel, I would have been fairly happy with our results. But
yeah, bummer.
I was pissed. I got people like, never mind.
All right, we'll just let it go with that. I don't know what you're trying to say, but yeah. What are you gonna do?
It is so. These races are so tough. These guys are so fast. The track is, it's tight. Small track. You're driving hard. One little bobble, like we said about 13.5 four wheel.
Mm-hmm.
13.5 truck. How close it was. Even mod is that close. The bigger the track is, the things tend to, stretch out just a little more. Gives you a little more space. But in this, you tap out on a.
There's no room for error.
There isn't. You got to be good the whole time, and it gets frustrating because you're everybody, but especially the pros, they're going for perfection in their racing or their results, and the way the pipes are there too are a little strange compared to some of the other tracks we've been to. He's got PVC pipe on the track, which is normal for the older school guys, but they don't use that as much anymore. And there's some corners that they have that are really tall, and they're sometimes blocked, like you can't see them very well because they're tall, the way they have the pipes set up. And
right.
I think that was caused a little bit of trouble. With PVC pipe, you have to make corners differently. The way the pipe's shaped, and it causes people a little bit of issue. It's not easy.
Wow.
As we move along, I see more and more of that happening, where we're going to have a lot of races like this where they're just going to be so close, and these little mistakes bobbles, because we're doing so much indoor racing now. On top of all that, which indoor racing is tough. When we go outdoor racing, it's not as common in 10 scale as it used to be, but things are a lot harder. And guys, when we race indoors, guys have a ton of experience now indoors. So you have to contend with many different racers that are very close in skill level. When you go outdoors, since people don't have a chance to do a lot of that, things are a little easier for, let's say, the pro guys. But instead of it being, you run an indoor race, it might be 20 deep of amazing racers, and you race outdoors, it is still the 20 great guys, or whatever the number is, but it starts to shrink a little bit in terms of people that could be leading the qualifier. So now we got Fred and Rich up at Digger's Dungeon. They're up there running the RC Monster Truck World Finals, No Limit World Finals, I think it's called. And then Fred is also, him and Rich are working on they have a mega truck mud race going on. And Fred's been working on building the track with another guy, or a couple guys working on building that. And so they haven't started running the mega trucks yet. They're still kind of wrenching, getting things ready. But they did start qualifying the RC on the monster truck side.
Mm-hmm. We getting some live video from that?
I don't think Rich has started doing the live video yet. I think he'll probably do it start doing it tomorrow when nice. The races start to pick up a little bit. But
yep.
But yeah, they got two tracks built there, like the mud track plus the race track. So that's a big event, and plus we're doing some debuting there this weekend with some new body. So we got a new body going out, going to be shown there this weekend. So Fred's been working on that, and then we got Thomas over in Omaha, Nebraska at our 1/8 Spring Nationals. That's at Hobbytown, USA, called the Hobbyplex. But this track, we were talking about earlier, this is tough to say. I don't know. This may be one of my favorite indoor tracks.
Yeah? I saw the 360 photo Thomas put up.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, I think that it's probably the best track in terms of the size, the elevation he's able to do. It's just, it might be the best indoor track.
Wow.
It's definitely right up there. When I look at the pictures, I just go like, oh man, this might be the best track. But of course, then you see another one, and you're like, that might be the best track.
And they all look pretty nice.
OCRC is awesome, but
yeah.
But I think, and it is awesome. But It's also in Huntington Beach, California. I mean, there's kind of an advantage with that too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're
Absolutely.
It's not like you have to head out to BFE somewhere.
Right.
I mean, this place, the location rocks. It's just no two ways about it.
These tracks today, these guys are doing a great job. Designing these tracks, and the facilities are nice. We didn't have that many to choose from, so.
Well, and I think that's a little bit a part of it. Sometimes people get on a negative kick about RC and RC racing, and maybe things are falling off, or there's certainly some talk like that on occasion. But I look at it like when I started, in Florida, there was no indoor tracks in Florida. They were all outdoors, and they were clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And like you talked about earlier about your club, and I think that it's really a little unfair to judge some of these tracks, indoor tracks that open and close, because I think in general it's very tough to have an indoor RC track, and it always has been, because it's so expensive to rent all that square footage that you can only use like twice a week. And a lot of other businesses, they rent all this square footage and they use it every day of the week. But with RC, all they really need is the hobby shop. If they have a hobby shop, some tracks don't even have a hobby shop, and all you need is the place you use for the hobby shop during the week, and then you only need the track twice a week. So I think we're actually pretty fortunate of all the tracks that we do have that are indoors and people are using it as a business. Because, when I started in Florida, there was no indoor tracks that were like businesses. They're all outdoor club tracks. And I still prefer an outdoor club track. That's honestly what keeps me... I probably race less because of that. Because it's just, that's my comfort zone. That's what I started, or that's what I raced on, and that's what I want to do. People, they make a big deal about some of these tracks opening and closing, and it's like, hey, this is not an easy business. You don't just open these up and make millions of dollars. Like, it just doesn't happen. And so I do think that somewhere along the line there's going to have to be more of these club tracks. I always go back to this track we really liked called Shiverville. It was in the guy's front yard in High Springs, Florida, and probably some of the best racing we ever had on our Super Cup was at that track. Mm-hmm. And it was in his front yard. It was very reasonably sized, had that outdoor feeling, but people were competitive. They really liked it. And I think that we need more of those. I don't think we need more indoor tracks opening that are doing it, trying to make it a business. I think we need more tracks opening that where either the land is somebody else's or it's free, and then like you have a little club atmosphere that runs it, and however you want to call it, this day and age, club, or your buddies, or however you want to say it. But I think that we're coming back around to that form. I think that's.
Oh yeah.
I think we're going to have to, if people tell me. This is kind of weird, but people tell me that there's tracks that close in some parts of the country because it's a warehouse, and when they made marijuana's legal, there's a couple tracks that closed down because they were able to grow marijuana in these buildings and make like 3 times the amount of rent.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, and since it's, I think it was Thomas or somebody telling me back in Oregon or Portland or wherever, they there's a track in there, and then, somebody else comes and say, hey, we can give you 2 or 3 times the amount of rent, and we can grow in here and sell or whatever they do, and it's a much better business than RC. And so, and you can't knock the people, I guess, that are the landlords or own the those buildings, because they're just looking for their monthly payment. It's a tough one.
Yeah, we were watching a video in our chat of a guy making an RC track in his backyard, and you were saying, this is like over a week ago, you were saying we need more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. So
yeah, we really do. People that have a passion for it and that want to do it and get it done. I think that's certainly, or is definitely something that we're kind of missing, as opposed to just showing up at this track and, indoor track and expecting everything to be perfect, and then them having to, try to make their monthly rent off of, $15 or $20 entry fees, which that's tough unless you have a good hobby shop and you have some money or reasonable rent. I mean, it's tough. Oh, 2 more things I wanted to bring up.
No, good.
The World's Warm-Up in Australia, David Ronafalk TQ'd, got on pole position and won out there in Australia. HB Racing, JConcepts, Orion. So obviously the warm-up isn't the actual Worlds, and you really want to win the World, not the warm-up. But
you get some good info from that race for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It was really good. So
nice. Good job, Dave.
Yeah, I mean he was dominating. He did an amazing job out there, and he did some more testing. I stayed there maybe a day or 2 after, and he's been trying to get after it. And I think he's, what I'm seeing is a lot of guys, it's hard for them to concentrate on one particular thing because they're racing so many classes. And I think that's easy for him to say that I like this one class. I like 8-scale buggy, and I like 8-scale buggy nitro, and I'm trying to be back-to-back world champion. And I think it's easy for him to make up his mind that that's his goal and, what he plans on doing, or the focus. Whereas, our guys that are here, they have so many classes they're racing and working on that it's hard to, maintain that focus for one race. And I think what I kind of see with David is he's kind of zoning in on that one race. Not that you can just zone in on one race and guaranteed to win it, but because certainly other people have kind of come out of the woodwork and won it here and there, being in the right place at the right time. But yeah, he's definitely, it seems like he's got a goal, a focus. Maybe he could be the first guy to go back to back.
Ooh,
nobody's done that in 8-scale Worlds yet.
Really? Nice.
So I think
Dave.
I think he sees that as a challenge that he's trying to take on, and we'll see. So the stuff was working, and then next week we're heading over to the Bigfoot Open House in Pacific, Missouri. and that's where I'm going with Fred and Rich and Allison. Last year we had a good time going there. They basically do an open house at their shop where they run their trucks as a display fun, and then they have all the old school guys there to talk to or do whatever you want. And
Thunder Chicken going to be there?
You never know if he's going to be there, the old man. There's an RC race there at the same time, so they're doing an RC monster truck race there. So I've been getting my stuff ready for that because I'm going to race in that.
Yeah. I tell you what, that's what I would do now. We were talking about racing stuff. I think that would be me, monster truck racing.
I can see that.
I want to see this. You guys are at Digger's Dungeon here. I want to see that course. He has that course set up for racing.
Well, they have a racing course, plus they have a mud racing course. But...
Yeah, that course that you showed the grid or whatever, is a layout of it on your page.
Mm-hmm.
That looked pretty fun to do.
Yeah, they haven't started yet, but it's built, and I think they're tomorrow.
I might have to go there next year because I could visit my brother, and then I could go up to the dungeon there.
2 for 1.
All right. What else are we talking about now?
Yeah, I just mentioned going to the open house. I was getting my stuff ready. We're going over there. And then Paul is going to go to A Main Hobbies Manufacturers Cup that they're having at A Main Hobbies in Chico. So Paul will be there with our hardcore crew racing big scale, which I love that race last year. I wanted to go back this year, but they changed the date because they had a conflict with the Silver State, and when they changed the race, I had already committed to going to the Bigfoot open house, and that's kind of my I get to nerd out a couple times a year with my monster truck stuff. So
now what are you doing anything with your Bigfoot? You're going to go there and get asked a tons of questions, right?
Not really, because not a lot of people know about that.
Okay.
But I'm just going there to race my RC stuff and watch the trucks and hang out with the old guys. And a couple guys usually at night, they break out some of the old videos and DVDs from the 80s and 90s that's not on the internet or YouTube, and people watch that stuff. And then some of the old monster truck guys come in there and talk about it from there. It's like, oh, I remember this night, this was an 88, this was an 88, and then we broke and we were back and we did this, and it's kind of cool. Like last year, Jim Kramer was telling us his movie stories, like when he went and did the movie Roadhouse with Bigfoot, and he went and did, he did Super Dave Osborne show. It was on HBO, and he did several movies.
Super Dave on Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's great.
Yeah. So he did a lot of that stuff. So he's telling us all of his old stories about being on the set and doing that stuff. And
you'll have a great time.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Paul will be at A Main, and Ryan, and Spencer will be doing their thing. And cool format there at A Main. And then we only a couple of weeks off. We'll be at the Ruona in Florida for 8 scale. So if they paint the infield, I'm sure you'll be watching.
Yep.
It's going to be an awesome race. The only question, I really love that track. It's probably, it's either, well, it's one of the best we have in Florida. Right now, the one in my favorite tracks are Coral Springs, Mills Pond, Lake Park, and Southside. Those are my favorite 4 outdoor tracks. And Southside is really trying to take it up a notch, and it's going to be nice. The weather is always sketchy in Florida. You never know, but I'm sure it'll be nice.
Nice. Well, I'm so lucky having all those tracks in the area.
That's what I got.
Yeah. All right. Facebook.com/Radio Impound. JConcepts.net this weekend. 15% off. Go there. Order stuff. Download the Anchor app. Listen to our RIPCast drive-through. Short little podcast. Usually on the go. Like yesterday, I was at the grocery store. So, we get some connection issues and stuff, but it's fun. And, we check in with Jason, see what he's doing, stuff like that. So, Carpies.com for your Radio Impound gear. You guys ask me questions about shirts. Just go to Carpies.com. CARPIES.com. They got hats and shirts there. Yep. Cool shirts, and got the old school RIP shirt when we first made one, and then they have the newly designed ones. Nice clean look to it. Got the little RIP logo on there. Looks good. And the hats are awesome, so. Carpies.com.
Trick.
What else am I forgetting? I think that's
Got
it.
any prizes or anything? Giveaway?
Well, I have those prizes to give away. And, those plaques that you gave me, those are from Mayfield?
I can't even remember which ones they are.
Yeah, I want to give one of the plaques away by sharing. I'll post it on Facebook, and you guys share the post. Anytime I post anything, feel free to share it. Get your friends to like the page.
Right.
But I'll post a photo of one of the plaques, and we'll give the plaques away to people that share the post. We'll figure out how to do that. I guess you just share the post and then pick a winner from there, right?
Yep.
We'll do that, and I have a Ryan Mayfield body that I'll give away to the patrons of the show.
Whoa. That'll be cool.
So head over, if you're not a patron, head over to patreon.com/Radio Impound. Throw a few cannolis my way. And that's it. We're good. Episode 173 in the books. We will catch you next week with Randy Pike of Team Teakin.
And we also got Brandon Rohde in the wings. We're trying to get him.
Oh, yeah. We were going to have him on a show this week, but Wednesday didn't work out for us. So.
Yep.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll do a double header. Randy and Brandon on the show.
Randy.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next week.
See ya.